Durbin and I worked for 4 years to get the First Step Act passed. And we came to Thomson Prison to see how the part of the bill that we passed, that we want to reduce recidivism, get people prepared for life out in the community so that they can be productive tax-paying citizens and reoriented with their family and their community, and to not go back to prison and cost the taxpayers a lot of money. And this part of the program is just getting underway, but I leave Thomson Prison with a feeling that they're into it and they want to fully carry out the goals that Congress established with the bill that the President signed last December.
A major part of your future, and then the prison was never open. And this village and a lot of communities around it here, it counted on it, made investments because of it, made expenditures because of it, and it just sat there empty for more than 10 years. Well, we joined together on a bipartisan and bi-state basis to see if we could bring the federal government in for the Bureau of Prisons to take this over. And under President Obama, it happened. There's a plaque on the wall that refers to 2012, when we finally made the purchase. The federal government made the purchase of this prison. Here we are 8 years later. A lot of money has been invested here to bring this up to 21st century standards of security and safety and health and the things that we count on when we build facilities like this today. And another thing has happened. We are seeing Thomson Prison become an integral part of the federal prison system. Right now, there are about 750 inmates in the building behind me and about 400 staffers who are working here. 750 inmates, 400 staffers. Ultimately, we expect up to 1,000 inmates and up to 600 staffers. Men and women who will be working from both sides of the river, Iowa and Illinois, being part of the local economy. When we ask the people at the prison here, well, what do we need? Well, we're looking for places for them to live. They need apartments, they need condos, they need homes. Well, that's got to be part of our commitment too, but it means building our communities on both sides of the river so that they grow in population, something we haven't seen in a long, long time. And all the supportive businesses and services that come with these families being part of the Thompson facility.
I think both senators covered the First Step Act pretty well. I'm going to talk about this from an economic perspective. So 400 jobs, folks who work right behind us 24/7. 40 jobs between now and the end of the year will be added, and another 100 plus will be added the year after that. And so this is a huge economic driver, not just for Carroll County, but for the surrounding counties as well. So looking ahead, the senator already mentioned this. The folks who come here, they need more places to live. So a call to action for anybody who wants to develop apartments, condos, houses, we can do that right here in Carroll County and Thompson and in the surrounding communities. So this is very, very important, not just because of the First Step Act, make sure that people, when they leave this prison, they're ready to go out in the community, but for our own economic development. In addition to the jobs that we have here, when you drove in, you saw the solar panels. This is running efficiently, effectively through green energy, and that was also because of some legislation that Senator Durbin and Senator Grassley and the U.S. House of Representatives helped promote. And so just from an overall perspective, this is very, very important to Carroll County, our surrounding counties, and our bi-state area.
Being asked to serve to work in a federal facility that is near a major metropolitan area, it's probably easier to find people. But they do have incentives for those who will sign up here, monetary incentives, if they'll commit to stay for 2 years or 3 years. So there are some dollar incentives for those who will come. And our feeling is, among us here, is that coming to this part of the world for many who've never been here will be a pleasant surprise. Life in the Midwest is a good life, a good place to raise a family. So
actually, in our tour, the president of the American Federation of Government Employees, the local here that represents the prison, she went on the tour with us, and I had sat down with her in January. I think she feels good about her job. We've got to make sure that we do our job and that there's not another government shutdown. That was absolutely unconscionable. What happened to these workers, that they were coming to work, they weren't getting paid. We have to make sure that that doesn't happen again, and I know that I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that we'll do the best we can to make sure that that doesn't happen. But it was absolutely unconscionable what happened. There was just one other thought, Chase, really to follow up to your question. also.
Down the river, not just for Thompson and Clinton, Iowa, but particularly for Rock Island and that area, you find no difference between the Republicans and Democrats. You find no difference between the House and the Senate. And better that, what supports us is the fact that the business and unions and civic leaders on both sides of the river work together on these projects. Whether it's this one or whether it's all the others up and down the river. Been a lot of meetings at the White House over a period of years, not years, but a couple years on E15 and small refineries and the RVOs or the 15 billion gallons, etc. And finally, somebody at the White House said something, you got to get biodiesel and ethanol and corn growers and soybean producers, and then there's even some divisions within the industry, you got to come together. So eventually, within 37 hours after the White House making that request, we went to the White House with one sort of plan. Now they gave us more than that, but the only one that really counts is the ethanol industry and the farmers of America getting fed up with the fact that we're promised 15 billion gallons and you end up at the end of the year with about 13.5 billion gallons. So what this issue that the White House announced last weekend is pretty simple. You can give all the waivers you want to give. Now I think too many waivers are being given, but you can give those waivers. But when whatever gallons are given out with waivers, it's going to be added back in. So when we get told what the RVO is at the end of the year, that's what it's going to be. There's some other things that aren't worth talking about because this makes an immediate impact. Now I wish it made up for all the mistakes under both the previous administration and this administration on gallons that have been lost. And they ought to be made up. But the industry came up with something that they were satisfied with. We were satisfied representing them, and the agricultural interests were satisfied, and that's what was announced. 15 billion gallons is going to be 15 billion gallons.
Good.
Does that sound okay?
Sounds okay to me.